Hey there, hackers. So I'm just going to give you some updates that I've done to a public domain operating system known as TempleOS. So let's get started. The first change that I've done, if you can tell, is that I have completely customized how everything gets started. So what we've got here is a butterfly sprite that I made by hand in about 40 minutes because it takes that long on TempleOS, I kid you not. And a lot of really simple changes, like you can edit the startup file and it starts up in a demo mode, which is basically starting it up in a demo folder. All I have to do is change a Boolean value and it doesn't start up in demo mode next time I boot it. And that's kind of like the first change, but really the most noticeable change. Full screen terminal. No borders. The borders are hidden. It's like it hit Control B for you so you don't see that flashing, blinking, and scrolling stuff. So there's no distractions. Starts in a demo folder. And, of course, the cursor is different. You know how it used to have that little weird arrow thing, if you have ever used it before? Well, now it has something that's a lot easier to see in the screen, and it makes more sense, at least for me. So that's kind of the first major change, is that the startup is completely customized, and I have a custom sprite in there, I have a custom mouse cursor, and instead of starting with 2 terminal windows and then a third one on top of that, and then the autocomplete screen where there's too much going on, it's very simplified, very minimalist. So that's the first major change. The second major change is that I've actually built some custom keyboard shortcuts into the system. So, for instance, you will have the Alt key be used for a lot of stuff in TempleOS, and I just kind of put it on some custom keys to change the location where you're at. So it'll change to a random file, or actually it'll change to a random folder. So if you do like Alt period, you don't see anything. But now you'll notice it changed to home. If I do Alt / changes it to the root directory, and then if I do Alt, changes it back to the demo directory. So this is really nice, really fast, really simple, really beautiful. So that is the second major change, is that I've got these custom keyboard shortcuts that I've added onto it. Now, I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to do... Sorry. All that Unix. I'm going to make a test directory. Yeah, that's right. You can't do that. Note to anyone using this, you have to use the double ticks. Holy C is a little bit picky on stuff. Alright. Alright. So Alt-D, we notice we have nothing in this directory. The next change, and I'll turn on autocomplete for this, is that you can use a new option, which is a new key binding, which is F8, which is New God Song. It's the traditional God Song app that you would normally use, but on steroids. Because what it does is it creates a file, saves your song to that file, names it for you, and it gives you more options than the regular God Song ever did. So what do I mean by that? Let's hit F8. First thing, you got a new pop-up that starts off everything. You've got long length as an option, or include timestamp and name. And that timestamp and name is just mainly something that I use for debugging purposes. Also for documentation purposes, to be frank, because sometimes the file system, if you're using it in QEMU versus VirtualBox, the clock will be off and you have to kind of set the hardware clock to match. And if you're using this with different setups for virtualization, then yeah, good luck with it. So first thing is the long length. If you check this option, what it does is it basically doubles God's song and makes it like hitting God's song twice. And so the traditional God song would have 4 bars, which 2 and 2 are both repeated. Live long and prosper. And the first two is the same melody, the second two is the same melody, then it takes them two, pops them together, there's your song. But then it just prints it to wherever you're at. So if you're in the middle of a file, it will print it to the file. If you're running your terminal, it'll print it to the terminal. And it's just really, terrible, but I wanted it in the file contained, so that way I could listen to it later if I wanted to. So I'm just going to go ahead and ignore the long length for this one, because I've built a utility actually to convert this stuff, and it creates songs like this. That's part of another video update project that I'll do. So we're just going to go ahead and just use standard length for this. The next thing you notice is that you don't get your standard screen where you select all the options. What this does is this brings up a God word function call to basically find a random word in its dictionary and create the file with that name, and then save that name to the song string in the file so you know it when you open up the file full screen like this. So I'll just pick that. Now you're on your traditional screen, but there is one small change that I've made to it. Where you have your drop-down menu right here, where you have simple, normal, and complex, now you have a basic that you use. Simple is, of course, going to still be by default, because, that's probably the way it should be. But basic is essentially taking the simple God song and making it even simpler. And you can still use your same regular options with it. Alright, so let's do the keyboard shortcut to see if it works. Alt-D, yep, so we've got doubled, which is the randomly generated word that it's used for creating this song. And if we open it, it'll tell us it's not a text file. That's right, it's a song file. And whenever you hit OK, this will play. I'm running this in VirtualBox, so you don't really hear what's playing, because VirtualBox doesn't have PC speaker support. Yeah, that's not my choice. You go into text mode, and then you can see that it successfully generated your God song string and everything, and then you notice that it adds basically the new song name into there. That is the other major change that I've made to it, is that this new God song is able to do a little bit more than what the regular God song does. So that's about all in terms of little changes and tweaks and updates that I've made to the system thus far. This took a lot of weird hacking and learning to get things to work out just right, and it still doesn't work out just right. So hopefully this was kind of interesting to you. Maybe it was inspiring to you, and you're thinking, well, now maybe I can do some neat stuff with this. Probably not. I mean, I just took the guy's existing stuff and just tweaked it to get it to work a little bit differently. But the main focus of all these tweaks was to make it very simple and easy to use for me, so that way the first thing I do is I can go in and I can just hit F8 and I can create 20 random new songs to generate that I then load into an application I built that parses the God song data into MIDI data, and then it writes that MIDI data that I can use to create songs like what you've heard earlier, or something like this. So that's about it. Hopefully that was helpful, maybe somewhat inspiring. If you liked it, thank you for liking it. If you didn't like it, that's okay, because I didn't like having to go through all the pain to do this. So thanks for watching, have fun, and happy hacking.